It's been 16 long years. Yep, my ex-fiancee ghosted me at the wedding ceremony. It was embarrassing. It was in front of my entire family and friends. Now, she's come back. Listen to what she has to finally say for herself. I was never given an explanation. She just left, told nobody. It was literally right before our big ceremony wedding. She didn't leave a note, nothing, just poof, gone. Even her family were left baffled. She just up and left. We dated all through high school, all through college. She eventually returned, but not to me. I had to learn via third party, aka her parents, she had no intentions of coming home. She wanted nothing to do with me and told her parents to avoid having me around. I never got a choice in the matter. I respected her wishes, but I never understood why she did it. My only guess was she had a mental breakdown because she cut all contact with everyone. We were both young, still growing. I don't know. I've struggled with it ever since. Out of the blue, she DMs me on Facebook after all these years, 16 to be in fact, and wants to meet up. I'm in an influx of emotions right now. Angry, nervous, hopeful, sad. I still have feelings for her after all these years. I don't know if I could ever take her back though. But looking at her Facebook makes me miss her. She's even better looking than she was before. And well, she's single. I'm conflicted. She won't talk about anything as to why she left. She says it's best to do so in person, and the only thing I can tell is from her Facebook is a bunch of stuff about her being weak, living like a fool of shame, regret being lonely. I don't know. This is dumb. She ghosted me. I should want nothing to do with her, but damn it, I still have feelings for her. I never stop thinking about her. What should I do? Ghost her in return? Call her out? See where this date takes us? Alright guys, Mr. Reddito here. This is an intense story to kick it off with. Let me just tell you there's a complete update and we're going to find out why this ex-fiancé ghosted OP. If you're enjoying the video today, please support the channel by pressing the subscribe button and hit that like button and comment down below. Thank you so much for the support. Here's the update. Well, that was something. I got closure at least. We met at a cafe and sat and talked outside. The first thing I noticed was how badly scarred her arms were. How much pain was in her face. Long story short, she wanted to break up long before the wedding. She was too weak and cowardly to speak up for herself. She had a complete nervous breakdown over everything. She had been tired of being forced into doing things she never wanted to do, and never having the guts to stand up for herself. She was mad at her family pressuring her to get married and pump out children. She was mad at them for forcing her into a degree that she never wanted. She was mad herself for not being able to speak up. Nothing she did was justified, which we agreed on. When I first proposed to her, I did it in a public area. I put her on the spot and she wanted to say no, but she could not bear to see me hurt. She was right. I made all the choices for her. I was a very different person back then, and she was very meek, as in she just went with the flow. Had no backbone. I drowned her voice out often and often never gave her the chance to grow up to be a person. Back then, I was often focused only on myself. Well, everything came to a climax and she completely had a mental breakdown. She ran away from her problems at the behest of her best friend and only person in the world she ever trusted. As she said, it's the only thing she knew how to do. Run. She never had the spine to speak up. Her life just spiraled downwards. She did a few years homeless after her best friend's husband kicked her to the curb. The rest of the time was spent in prison, which she did not specify what she did. She was released about a year ago and has been turning her life around. She has a job, she's reconnected with her parents, and finally reconnected with me. She never stopped trying to get in touch with me. As for our future, we have none. We both agreed to end things and go our separate ways. We both are changed, two different people. We have nothing in common and don't live near each other. She does not justify what she did, nor does she want to be forgiven. She thinks it's repulsive and is ashamed of her actions. I wanted to be angry, but I just couldn't. I just forgave her. With that, we shook hands, said our goodbyes, and that will likely be the last time we ever see each other. It's bittersweet. I got the closure I wanted. Heck, we both did. It feels like a burden was released. I know now we have never had a future together and never will. But on the others, I'm sad because it's over. All these years, maybe hoping something would happen were for naught. But in the end, this is an ending I can finally have closure with. Not many get to say that. Do I believe her story? Yeah, I do. And even if she's full of shit, at this point, does it even matter? I've always known her to be very weak-willed, meek. She often just does what everyone tells her to do and often runs when things get too difficult. She avoids her problems because she's too weak to stand up to them. I mean, it makes sense why her family would not talk to me about it. They were the typical tiger parents that disowned their problem child. So, entitled Mother Stories, Cheating Stories, Karen Stories, they're per usual on the channel. However, it's kind of rare we come across a similar situation like this. 16 years is a very long time. I want to know, would you have given her another chance 16 years later? Or would you just want to find closure? Or would you say, heck it, I'm not meeting her at all. No contact and I'm going to keep it that way. Let me know your thoughts on that. Post them in the comment section below. And we're going to turn our attention to the next story. My stepsister is telling my whole family my boyfriend got her pregnant to make herself feel better. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do me one of the biggest favors to help support me and just click that subscribe button if you're enjoying. Thank you so much. Here's the next story. So I'm a 25-year-old female and I met my boyfriend Tim, 26 male, 3.5 years ago. We hit it off and it was great and sweet and we got along perfectly. Until I introduced him to my family. My mother's gotten remarried a few months earlier. I like my stepdad and we get along fine. My stepsister's Sarah, who's 26, and we're friendly but not besties by any means. She's kind of an intense party girl, and being in our 20s, we only see each other at family events. So, I introduced Tim to my family, at which point we learned that Sarah used to date Tim when they were 20. It was only a few months, and Tim said they broke up because she made out with another guy at a nightclub while drunk. Sarah got upset and started saying I had to break up with him because it was weird. She called Tim her, quote, sloppy seconds, and tried to get our parents to force us to break up. I said no. It's been years since they've been together, and I did not even know Sarah when she was dating Tim. I got pretty upset because my family jumped on the bandwagon, saying we should most definitely break up. For the past few years, at any family gathering, Sarah would mention how they used to date and act like I stole her boyfriend, and has been selling that narrative to my family and friends. It became obvious that she was jealous, but I liked him, so we just ignored it and kept dating. So now, a few years later, Tim and I live together. We've been talking about marriage and stuff, and I recently had a conversation with my mom about how I thought Tim was going to propose, because, well, he's not exactly subtle, and we talked about this for a while. At which point, Sarah, who just moved back in with our parents, walked in. She starts asking a bunch of evasive questions about our relationship and being weird. Sarah is 4 months pregnant. The father, she said, was some deadbeat guy she hooked up with who wants nothing to do with her. But she wants to keep the baby. I'd been making an effort taking her to appointments, offering to help babysit and trying to be excited for her. Until a week ago, when my stepdad sent me a long text saying how I can't marry Tim because he's the real father of Sarah's baby. I was immediately very upset, confronted Tim, who was completely shocked, and said Sarah was most definitely lying. He said there's no way. He did not cheat on me and he would gladly have a paternity test to prove it. Unsure, I asked Sarah for more details about when they slept together, which she says happened a few times. She was shaky, went back and forth on the details. The dates and times don't match up with what I can remember of Tim and I've been doing. She also said she came to our house to see him, but since COVID, I've been working from home. So I can't imagine that they managed that. I'm pretty sure now that she's lying to get us to break up because she's still jealous. But now my family are involved and have been sending me hateful messages, saying I need to break up with Tim and let him be with Sarah. She's telling everyone he's in love with her, and I'm keeping him from her. She has no proof, and he strictly denies everything. I text her asking for proof of any of this happening, and she sent me some fake Photoshop screenshots that are so amateurly done. When she's put Tim's name over our friend's number and pretended he was messaging her. I checked, and the friend all but admitted to me and tried to laugh it off. Horribly Photoshop timestamps. I actually don't know what to do now. I believe Tim and we are still together, but this has kind of thrown a wedge in everything. Sarah's poisoned my relationship with our parents and my family. I feel sick to my stomach, and Sarah's now saying she won't give me a paternity test. Alright guys, here's the update for this story. I've kind of forgotten about this post since life's been so hectic, but the baby was born yesterday and reminded me of this. A few people have been asking for updates, so here we go. I spoke to my parents. Tim offered to do a paternity test. We gave them an ultimatum to believe me or have me out of their life. Initially, my parents backed Sarah, mostly because she was pregnant and had nobody else. The quote deadbeat who knocked Sarah up reached out to me privately because he's been sure that he's fathered Sarah's baby, as they've been hooking up at that time, and he wasn't sure what's going on. Sarah told him she was having the pregnancy terminated, apparently. Deadbeat reached out to my parents and said he wanted to fully support the child and Sarah. Turns out he's a plumber with a very good income and wants to be a dad. But he doesn't want to be with Sarah at all. Sarah still won't admit lying about the affair, but after realizing people weren't falling for it, she switched to, quote, faking a mental illness to cover her deception. I do believe she's mentally unwell, just not in the way she's faking it. I've also figured out what a monster manipulator she is. She fed my parents tidbits and small lies to make her giant lies seem more credible. Tried to slowly turn them against me, so they more easily believed Tim was in love with Sarah. Things are still strained with my family, but I feel I'm making progress. Sarah's moved on to getting attention for being pregnant/sick, so she's not obsessing over Tim anymore, though I refuse to be near her. Baby was born today. I pray for that little guy. It's going to be a long and difficult life with that mother. My cousin went to visit, sent me a photo of the birth certificate. Father's listed as deadbeat guy. And finally, Tim did propose, but we're planning a long engagement. Sarah's not invited to the wedding. I want to bring your attention to one of the comments of this story. It says, "Thank you for the update. Frankly, I agree. Do not invite Sarah. I'm even questioning whether you should invite your parents. I mean, seriously, the boyfriend offered paternity test, even swore she was lying. Nothing happened. This is ridiculous that the parents believe Sarah even with proof staring them dead in the eyes. The fact that, quote, the deadbeat turned out not to be a deadbeat, he should have been renamed plumber, and is more willing to step up should be a sign to your parents that Sarah is manipulative. Guys, I agree with that comment, but let me know your thoughts. Drop them down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're not subscribed, you know what to do, guys. Have a wonderful day, and remember, it's cool to be kind. The latest Mr. Reddito producer, Christine Billings. Thank you so much for the support.